Right now at 4, our top story, President Biden paying a visit to southern New England today. It was a whirlwind trip to Somerset this afternoon, pushing for action on climate change and clean energy. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Brian Yacono.
And I'm Chelsea Jones. The visit is now wrapping up, and we are currently awaiting his departure back to Washington. And we have live team coverage for you. We have Steph Machado in Somerset, where the president wrapped up his speech about an hour and a half ago.
First, though, we want to send it out to Shannon Heggie, live at TF Green Airport, where the president's plane is on standby to take him home. Shannon.
That's right, Brian and Chelsea. We are just waiting for the president's motorcade to arrive here before his departure on Air Force One behind me. We were here on the tarmac. We brought it to you live around 1:30 this afternoon when the president landed. To give you a better idea of where we are, this is not far from the TF Green Fire Department, which is across from Winslow Park. That's the part of the tarmac that Air Force One landed on, pretty far from the main portion of the airport that the rest of us as travelers are used to. But again, the plane landed at 1:30 on the plane with the president. Massachusetts Senators Ed Markey and Elizabeth Warren, as well as Congressman Bill Keating and Jake Auchincloss. On the tarmac here to greet the president was Governor Dan McKee and Warwick Mayor Frank Picozzi. And he spent quite a while, the president, talking with both the governor and the mayor. And right after that moment, I talked to Mayor Picozzi about what that conversation was like. Take a listen. Mayor, I just said to you, what a big day for little TF Green, and you said...
Big day for Mayor Picozzi, too.
That's right. Tell me about, you had quite the conversation just now with President Biden. What did you talk about?
Well, we're exchanging pleasantries, and I was talking about Warwick. I told him how Warwick, the pilot may have told them they were in Providence, but we're actually in Warwick. I told them about the 39 miles of coastline, just how great the people are here. They were actually the second largest city, not Cranston, things like that nature.
So a big day for Mayor Picozzi as well. I mean, you talk about this small airport in Rhode Island, and, you know, he said even 2 years ago, before he was mayor, he never would have imagined meeting the president. So it was a big day for him. Right now, as you can see, live here at TF Green, the president's motorcade, it is quite large. Vehicle after vehicle after vehicle, all pulling into TF Green as we get ready for the president to depart here from TF Green back to Washington after his visit. Of course, this was all focused around his conversation on the country's climate future, about combating climate change, really using Somerset and the former Brayton Point power plant where those 2 cooling towers used to be. That's now a staging area for an offshore wind farm, and very symbolic of the president's goals for this country for the future. It was one of his 4 major pillars that he ran on as president. He talked about it in his inauguration speech. So for him to come to our little corner of the country and talk about that and use southeastern Mass and to land in Rhode Island to talk about his goals for the country, that's huge for all of us. Again, what you're looking at live is the president's motorcade coming down the tarmac here at TF Green. Obviously a very large motorcade, and I'm sure if you were traveling down the highways today in Rhode Island or southeastern Massachusetts, you were probably affected by this because the highways were either shut down or there were major delays as the president made his way to Somerset and now as he made his way back here to TF Green. Now the motorcade is going right around. We're just going to be blocked a tiny bit by a shuttle bus that carried us over here. But as we follow the motorcade, it's looping around. This is the same route that the plane took originally when it landed, Air Force One. All of these SUVs coming back down the runway. I believe those same dignitaries from Washington who arrived with the president will most likely be getting back on the plane with him, so they are probably in this motorcade right now arriving. But again, the president, when he came here and landed around 1:30 this afternoon, spent a little bit of time talking on the tarmac with Warwick Mayor Frank Picozzi, Governor Dan McKee, speaking with some of the dignitaries that were on the plane with him, and just your, average greetings on the tarmac. But it was quite short. He hopped right in the motorcade. They went right to Somerset, where he gave his remarks, and we have a team in Somerset who will be giving you more information on that in just a bit. But we got a notification from his team not a long while ago saying that he was actually ahead of schedule, that his speech in Somerset went quicker than they expected, and that he would be arriving here soon, and that's what you see happening right now. So we are just waiting for the motorcade to fully come around here before the president gets back on Air Force One to depart for Washington. One joke he made when he first got here was that to Mayor Frank Picozzi was that they didn't take the big 747 today because they were afraid that they would just overshoot Rhode Island and miss it altogether. And the mayor and I were joking about how even the president of the United States makes a joke about how small Rhode Island is. So it was a fun moment. It sounds like he had a nice time talking to the governor and the mayor of Warwick. Again, here is the president's motorcade coming through after being in Somerset earlier today, arriving at Air Force One to get back on the plane and head to Washington. A great day for flying, too. They didn't run into any issues in that aspect, despite the heat. And now we see members of the president's staff, likely Secret Service as well, getting out of their SUVs here. Presumably the president in this very first car. This is the car he got into when he first got off the plane. Again, we are just waiting for President Biden. It looks like he's getting right out the side door. And now heading up the stairs. No comments to the press as he heads back to Washington on Air Force One after quite the whirlwind and quick day here in Rhode Island and southeastern Massachusetts. The president giving a nice wave to the press as he boards Air Force One and prepares to leave Rhode Island. And again, this came about pretty quickly. We only found out about the visit on Monday night. We had it as breaking news on 12 News at 11 that it was a potential visit. We had it confirmed by Tuesday morning, and by today, here we are. So for more on the president's remarks in Somerset and what he had to say today about the future of climate change in our country, let's head over to my colleague Steph Machado in Somerset. Steph?
Well, Shannon, President Biden spoke for 18 minutes here under the scorching sun in Somerset, announcing a series of climate actions, but stopping short of announcing a national climate emergency, as some had called for him to do in the wake of that climate bill in Congress, of course, collapsing. Now, when he arrived here in Somerset, he was joined on the motorcade with U.S. Senators Ed Markey, Elizabeth Warren, Sheldon Whitehouse, Congressman Bill Keating, and Jake Auchincloss, also former Senator John Kerry, who is now Biden's climate envoy. Of course, Markey and Whitehouse among the top advocates for climate reforms in Congress. Now, Biden came here to Brayton Point for a very specific reason. This was once the site of a coal-fired power plant, one of the filthiest in New England, in fact. And who could forget that video of the cooling towers being demolished in 2019? And now at least part of the site is going to be used to manufacture cables to connect offshore wind to the grid. Biden announced a series of climate actions here, including funding for resiliency and expanding the low-income heating assistance program to include assistance for cooling. And he said to expect more executive actions on climate in the coming days and weeks.
When it comes to fighting for climate change, I will not take no for an answer. I will do everything in my power to clean our air and water, protect our people's health, to win the clean energy future. This, again, sounds like hyperbole. Our children and grandchildren are counting on us. Not a joke. Not a joke. If we don't keep it below 1.5 degrees centigrade, we lose it all. We don't get to turn it around. And the world is counting on us.
Biden was quickly whisked away after the speech. He didn't take any questions that were being shouted by reporters before he got back in his motorcade. I did manage to get the attention of Rhode Island Senator Sheldon Whitehouse. He turned around, but he didn't answer my question about whether he thought Biden should have declared that national climate emergency. And then they took off here from Somerset about a half hour ago, and as you saw, have already taken off from TF Green. For now, live in Somerset, I'm Steph Machado, 12 News.